Clayface is a major antagonist in Batman Arkham City. He is a former horror film actor who went mad with envy when he learned that The Terror, one of his classic works, was set to be remade with a different lead actor instead of him. His prototype is a golem, an animated anthropomorphic creature from Jewish legend, magically created entirely from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud. Hello fellow collectors, it's Dr.Vankman channel back again, and today we're going to take a look at the Arkham City Clayface Deluxe action figure based on the Batman Arkham City video game from DC Collectibles. The figure is a really huge, actually the biggest figure in DC Collectibles universe, and apart from that fact, it was really hard to get this figure because the price is actually very high nowadays. And before we go further, I should tell you that I never collected DC Collectibles figures before, as the other facts that never played Arkham City video game. But I found actually two figures from this series with an impressive representation in plastic form. It's a Solomon Grundy and the Clayface that certainly can be called must-buy figures from DC Collectibles line. I really like such figures like monsters, ghosts and horror stuff, so that's the only reason I decided to get this incredible figure in my collection. Actually, the figure was released in 2012, so you can imagine that 7 years have passed since the official release of this figure. Of course, the main reason too hard to find this figure is the price. Basically, such a huge monsters like this cost $100 plus on the stores. So I've been hunting for this figure many years before I finally found this one for a reasonable price on eBay. The box is definitely bigger and heavy than any of the other deluxe figures from this line. It comes in the same designed window box packaging we typically can see with DC Collectibles figures, with the Batman Arkham City logo below. On the one side of the package we have a close-up image of the Clayface figure, and on the other side there's prototype image of the complete figure where you've got some information that the figure stands about 13.5 inches tall and sculpted by the artist Phil Ramirez. The backside of the package features another Clayface prototype image along with other deluxe figures from DC Collectibles line. It's a Killer Croc and Titan Joker, but this one is definitely bigger than those figures. So let's go open up this package and take a look at what's inside.
The roll of a lifetime!
Okay, everything is here, and here's how the figure looks outside the box. And before we move on, I'm going to take a measure. And according to my ultra electronic device, we have the following value of how it stands from the very top of his head to the feet. A real nice work with detalization of the figure, with a lot of texturing that covering over the body. The overall sculpting looks fantastic, along with the same very accurate wash work on the painting. If you turn him around, you're gonna see the amazing detalization of the giant and small crystallized rocks that sprinkled over his back, along with this freezing effect. It's actually referring us to the fight scene between Batman and Clayface, because in the video game Batman have used the special capsules which basically freezes Clayface. So actually we have the battle damage version of this character. But it feels like maybe a little bit too much snow and ice effect have been added, because it looks contrastly if comparing with light brown shader on his body. So I think it would looks better with a bit toned down or with slightly tarnished effect. But it still looks amazing, and in general the figure looks more than just screen accurate. The figure comes with a number of interesting accessories, and first we get the instruction sheet which show us all the features of the figure. On this side you can see the replaceable operation of the left arm on the first picture, where it's indicated that need to press one of the crystals to swap the arm. The second picture demonstrates the special place for the Talia sword on his back, and it kind of recreates the battle scene from the video game. And the last picture shows us how to change the right hand on this figure. Another side on this instruction features some information about how to fit well Clayface head over the top of the Joker head. So following the instruction, let's see how it works with all the accessories. At first we get two giant interchangeable arms, where one of them is actually forearm in the axe mold, and this one as a full Joker's arm with the torn sleeve of traditional Joker's coat. This arm is actually taller than the figure itself, so for some point it's kind of strange to represent the figure with this hand. But as the prototype of this character is a golem, an animated anthropomorphic creature from the Jewish legend, magically created entirely from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud, and such a details like this very long arm just enhance the effect of the likeness of the golem creature. The upper part of the arm is actually hard plastic that covers the torn sleeve, and the rest of the arm is a softer plastic with some kind of rubbery material, which makes the arm very flexible and allows to get some articulation possibility, like the bend at the elbow and some good range of motion of the wrist as well as the fingers. And the detailization of this hand is really impressive. Now to take on the arm on the figure, let's turn him around, and according to the instruction, just press one of the crystals on his back, which is kind of button for detach the actual arm, and in the same time pull the arm out with another hand. It's a little bit trickier operation, but after all it comes right out. And now we just take Joker arm, stick it into the hole and push on it until it clicks into the place. And for the right arm, which has removable option only with the hand, we just pop off it right out, very easy, and take on into the place the axe hand version, which has the same amazing detailization. So that's how it actually looks with two replaceable arms. And it's a really fantastic representation of this giant monster. And as the figure represents battle damage version, it comes included with the small sword of Talia al Ghul that Batman have used in the fight scene to defeat this giant monster in the video game. The sword itself is made from a bit softer plastic and does have a clear paintwork with the silver blade and gold handle with a brown wrappings on it. So we just put the sword into the special place on his back. You can find a little hole on the top in between these crystals and stick it down where it fits perfectly. So it can be displayed in this way, just like the Batman did in the video game. And the last features of this figure is a removable option of his head, which fits over top this very small Joker head, and it's also kind of referring us to the video game where the basic transformation into Clayface came from Joker. This head is actually attached with a swivel joint, so it can be rotated all the way around without up and down movements. On the left side of his face you can find some incredible detailization work of Joker transformation on sculpting, and on the right side just a Joker face with a sinister smile. This tiny head is a nice addition to the figure, but in general it looks a bit ridiculous with the giant body. In terms of the main Clayface head, you can see that it's actually a hollowed out detail which features very impressive detailization. The painting looks really nice with these red eyes and some accurate washwork on the same light brown tint. And another cool thing that it does have an articulation job. So let's go back and fit the head over top the Joker head again, because it's certainly the way how I'm gonna display this character, and it fits actually pretty much well. In the origin story in Batman universe, the villain named Basil Carlo, also known as the Clayface, helped Joker to the fight against Batman and basically in video game. The articulation possibility for such a giant-sized figure isn't too bad, with a very good range of motion. His head technically has a swivel joint and rotates all the way around, and as I mentioned before, without up and down movements. but it does have articulation job. The arms hinge outward and can be rotated, but not too much, because the shoulders are very limited by the crystallized spikes on the top of his back. He's got a swivel joint at the bicep, a slightly bent at the elbow with a single hinge by the way, and the rotation swivel at the wrist of his hands. There's no articulation of the torso on the midsection of the figure, the legs split out, hinge forward and back, a single joint on the knee, and much like the elbow, it's not bending too much with a slight rotation movement, and the ankle pivot with the swivel joint that can be rotated without up and down motion. Moving forward to the size comparison part, let's see how it stands with other figures from different companies. And here's how it looks with other monster characters from NECA, based on video games and horror movies. Here's how it stands with the McFarlane Toys characters from The Walking Dead and Stranger Things TV series. Another size comparison with some of the Universal Monsters characters from Diamond Select, and some other monster characters from the Toy Biz, Middle-earth universe, the Lord of the Rings series. And here we can see the Clayface next to 12-inch scale David Jones figure from NECA, which is actually more shorter. And here's the Clayface next to another characters from the Batman universe, Scarecrow animated series. And of course the last size comparison with the Ghostbusters, Dr. Peter Vankman and Dr. Raystain's figures from Diamond Select Toys. The giant golem Clayface, ladies and gentlemen, from the Arkham City video game DC Collectibles series, is definitely the biggest figure ever produced in DC Collectibles line, and overall I really like this character. Even if you are not a big fan of DC universe, this neat looking character will look great in any horror or monster collection. Of course, if comparing this figure with some other giant characters in action figure industry, like the Lord of the Rings Balrog figure from NECA, or the Jurassic World T-Rex figure from Mattel, of course it doesn't look very massive, but it's certainly one of the best looking figure in DC line from a collector standpoint. And I'm definitely going to also find the Salomon Grande figure for my collection one day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like my review, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can have a look at my other review of the figures that have covered many different fantastic lines in action figure universe. Make sure you hit a notification bell not to miss any new content that will be definitely coming your way. It was Dr. Vankman channel review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
This is Peter Vankman saying, see you then.
Ah!
One last chance.